Welcome to an exciting half hour of Giant Celebration. On this month's show, we'll speak with Marion Community Schools board members, both past and present, plus an opportunity to catch up with MCS Superintendent Dr. Lindsay on this episode of the Giant Showcase.
Welcome to the Giant Showcase. Today we have a wonderful show ready for you. With me is Dr. Brad Lindsay, and we are going to get a chance, Dr. Lindsay, to talk with some board members, both past and present. And they're really unsung heroes. And
yes.
I would like for you to tell us a little bit about what it's like for you to work with the past and the incoming board members. We just have a few minutes here. I know you have some solid friendships with some of these folks, and there's a lot of giant successes, and we will be talking about those giant successes in the show, so you'll want to stay with us. But talk to us a little bit about what it's like.
Well, first of all, the relationship with the board and the superintendent is so important to work in concert as a team in the best interest of our students in Marion Community Schools, and that's so important.
Yeah.
But what I've learned from our board that I've served with the last 5.5 years, and the board I'm getting ready to serve with, is that they have such a love for the people of Marion. They love the students, they love the families, and that's our mission. That's why we exist, and they understand that. They're full of the city of Marion giant pride. They are giants by choice. And the level of sacrifice, the level of service, you know, this is a volunteer job that's like a full-time job. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, it's hard to make decisions in the best interest because it's not always popular. Yeah. And they're willing to sacrifice, to serve, and they're great leaders. And so I'm just so thankful. I've had the opportunity to learn. As a person, I'm better as my relationship from them. I've grown and I've learned so much, and I am so thankful. And so I'm so thankful for the service of the board that has been, because they have so many tremendous accomplishments, as you're going to talk about. And I also believe that God appoints people to positions. And so I just praise our Heavenly Father for the board that has been serving Marion Community Schools, because all Marion Community Schools as accomplished, it gives us the opportunity for the future that we have, and our future is bright.
It is.
And people go where there's life, and that's what I've learned here at Sunny Crest Baptist Church. John 10:10. People go where there's life, and in Marion Community Schools, there is life, there is love, there is opportunity. Our enrollment's up.
Yes.
The arts, the participation's up, the academics is up, the athletic achievement. It's a culture of love. It's a culture of achievement. There's something for every single student.
Yes.
There's a real-world education. Marion Giants today, Global Giants tomorrow. And that's a result of a governing board that creates a space in the ceiling so the administration, the teachers, and staff can best serve, use our strategies and put strategies into action to accomplish the important giant target goals that the board sets. The board creates the space so we can have liberty and life to serve our kids the best possible. And that's what this board has done, and that's what our next board is going to do.
I fully believe it, and you know what? I thank you so much for getting us excited. How exciting is that, right? To think about that. Well, you are going to get a chance to meet some of those board members, both outgoing and incoming, and boy, do we have some great giant successes that we are going to get a chance to share with you. And we're going to pause for a really quick break, but we hope that you'll stay with us and celebrate with us some of those great giant successes right here on the Giant Showcase.
Did you make sure we're not missing anything in the first aid kit?
Yep.
Did you go through the plan with the kids again?
Yes. The more you prepare today, the more you'll be able to reduce the devastating effects of a tornado or any other disaster. Visit ready.gov.
I have with us one of the newest Marion Community School board members. Her name is Dana Galt, and she was elected in by you. And so I am so excited to welcome her to the show. And Dana, I want to say thank you for joining us today on the Giant Showcase.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I understand that you actually are a graduate from Marion High School.
I am.
Would you share with us a little bit about your time there?
I had a wonderful time at Marion High School back in the day.
What was it like back then?
It was, we were very close, as we all knew each other, even though there was a large graduating class. Each class back then was like 800 or so students. I was a part of the marching band, so I did flags and marched with the band, went to band camp, and so I was very involved. My family, we were stair-stepped, so I went to the basketball, football, volleyball games with my siblings. So Marion Community School, they were a big part of our family. My parents were very involved with school and our whole neighborhood, so to speak. So, yeah.
All right. Well, there's a lot of folks out there that haven't had the pleasure of meeting you just yet. So for those that are maybe watching us today and would like to get to know you a little bit better, share with us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Dana Galt, born and raised here in Marion, Indiana. Married to my high school sweetheart. He played football as well. I raised my children here in Marion, and they too played sports and were involved in Marion activities. I am currently still here in Marion working. Work 4 minutes from home.
That's
so
handy.
I'm close. Marion is just, I joke at my girlfriend at our commute. I take a picture of my commute, which is one car, and in Indianapolis, her commute is all of 465. I have grandchildren that participate in Marion schools, and so I'm always at different buildings participating with family, grandchildren and cousins and nieces and nephews.
So you're very invested within Marion Community Schools.
Yes.
So that's going to come in very handy as you are serving as a board member then. Well, talk to us a little bit about something called Systems of Care.
Okay. So, System of Care, I'm the System of Care coordinator here for Grant County. And what I do is I look at barriers for systems for families and children who suffer with mental health and addiction. And so as we look at those barriers, we come together as a community trying to reduce some of those barriers and create programs so that families can have a safe and healthy environment.
That's going to come in very helpful in your role as a board member. Which, let me switch over then to your role as a board member. Some of those, you're new, right? And so I know you're still getting somewhat accustomed to of the responsibilities that you have. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you're discovering some of those responsibilities are as a board member?
Communication is a big responsibility. So an extra string of emails now in my life. And passwords.
Got to keep up on those, right?
So I really like it. It's like having I have 7 or 8 other family members now, and it's called the school board. And so getting to know each one of them and knowing what our role is and what each person does and their strengths and what they bring to the table. So it's going to be exciting with 4, including me, new members.
It will indeed.
Yes.
Right now, as you look at Marion Community Schools as a whole, what do you like about Marion Community Schools?
I can go on and on and on.
There is a lot of good. That's why we have the show, right?
It is a lot of good, yes, the showcase. I like their sports. I like that the integrity of Marion School is the same as it was years ago. It continues to grow. I like that they develop all of us students to be leaders. So there are several leaders around the country from Marion Community Schools.
That is becoming very evident to me as I get to meet some of them.
Yes. So Marion just produces such good quality people, and we grow to be good citizens, and we grow to help each other. So just the family that Marion Community School has. I like that it's family oriented and it's close and people within the community.
That's so important.
Yes.
For the sake of time, I want to ask you one final question here, and that is, what is your hope for the future of Marion Community Schools?
My hope is they continue to grow. They're doing so well. And so the only avenue and the only direction is up. So as we grow in our instruction and the health of our community and the health of our schools, that they continue to just grow and do well.
So then I have time for one last question, and this one is a really easy one for you. Why did you want to serve as a board member for Marion Community Schools?
I love kids. I love to be a part of something. I want to help. and this is a big part of me that I want to help and contribute to Marion Community Schools. So.
And clearly, I think that you will, most definitely. Well, Dana Galt, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And
thank you.
We will be right back with some more Giant Showcase in just a moment.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and one person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Joining us now are two outgoing Marion Community School Board members. And when I say outgoing, I should also say outstanding, because when you find out everything that was accomplished under their tenure, you're going to be pretty impressed, just as I was. With me is Scott Murphy and Katie Morgan. Welcome, both of you, to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you for joining us. Now, you have a lot of giant successes under your belts while you were there on the school board. We're going to talk about that. But first, take a moment. Each of you, Katie, we'll begin with you. How long have you been on the board?
I have served 9.5 years. So
9.5 years.
June of 2009, I was sworn in after an appointment. I completed that term and then was reelected twice. So, 9.5 years.
9.5 years is a good number. And Scott, how long with you?
You know, I might have 2 weeks on her. I might be 9.5
really
years.
Close.
And that's about right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, then you've really invested a lot into Marion Community Schools, and it shows. So, for those folks, though, that may not know, because you're really unsung heroes, the board is an unsung hero of Marion Community Schools. So, for folks that have never had the pleasure of meeting you, share with me a little bit about yourselves. Would you like to go first, Scott?
Sure, that'd be great. Really kind of born and raised in Peoria, Illinois. Came to the community with Walmart and opened the Walmart Distribution Center back in 2006.
Big project.
It was a big project, fun project, still there. Always a fun day, every day. Work with an outstanding group of associates in that building and in the community. I've got 4 kids, 2 of which are Marion High School graduates, one at the University of Kentucky, one at University of Indiana and in Bloomington. And, you know, they couldn't have gotten a better education, honestly. They both thrived in high school, both took a tremendous amount of credits. My University of Kentucky daughter, right now Emily, graduated from IU in 3 years because of all the credits she took out of Marion High School. And Katie took, I think, 30 credits with her as well. So she's thriving down in Bloomington as well.
Those opportunities really are amazing within Marion Community Schools. That opportunity to advance yourself is pretty impressive.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. The teachers do an outstanding job there and really get kids ready for college. And my 2 daughters are prime examples of kids that hit the ground running and have had a great time. So
true. Now, Katie, share with us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Marion resident, born and raised here. I am actually a 5th generation Marion Grant County resident. My grandparents were Marion High School graduates. I'm a Marion High School graduate from the class of 1998. I bleed purple and gold and always have. So, you know, not a day goes by in our house that somebody's not saying Giants fight, never die, for sure. I am the executive director of the Community School of the Arts in Marion, and I am the mother of 4 Giants. I actually have a senior in high school this year. He will be graduating, almost wrapping up his first semester of his senior year, and 3-sport Marion High School athlete headed off to run in college. And then I have a 5th grader over at Justice Intermediate School this year. I have a 3rd grader at Riverview, and I have one in kindergarten who is in kindergarten this year and was last year part of the Little Giants program. So we are woven throughout the district as a family, and they're so lucky to be at Marion Community Schools and receiving the quality education and really the love and the opportunity that's there for them. I feel really blessed to have my children be part of something that I loved so very much. So
Well, then let's speak to that for a minute, because it's very evident that you both have a heart for Marion Community Schools and the students and the families and all of those that are affiliated with. And with let's just round up, okay? Nearly a decade of service. You've got a lot of experience, and there's been a lot of successes in that time frame. Share with us a little bit about what it's like to be a board member for Marion Community Schools. I'll let whoever wants to start first go.
Well, I'm a talker, but what I think is one of the most important things for board members to do is listen. Listen to your administrators and your teachers and your students and your families and your community, and the things that they want, the things that they want to see improved, and where they're celebrating successes and how to build on those. I think that is a really important part of being a board member, to sort of advise decision making and policy making for the district. That's the first and most important thing I think of. So,
Good communication then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely critical. You're absolutely right. It is really, really important to do that. I think, the thing I really liked about my time on the board is first off, it's incredibly rewarding. It was really, for me, it was a privilege to serve. And, you think about the impact, kind of remotely, but the impact you have on kids and the community.
And their futures.
And, absolutely. Yeah. And, the most important piece, I think, is really hiring the right superintendent. That is, above and beyond everything else a board does.
Yeah.
That is the most critical piece, is getting the right leadership in and cultivating an environment where, you've got growth, you've got love, you've got learning, and it's all inclusive. So really critical to make sure that the community is involved, teachers are involved, administrators are involved, and Katie made great points, because, that all starts with the board listening and really kind of understanding what the needs are and what the wants are.
You mentioned also the superintendent, and during your tenure, you brought on and hired Mr. Brad Lindsay, who is the current superintendent. And I just have to ask, because I've had the privilege of getting to work with him here on the show, what is it like as a board member to get to work with somebody that's, I would say, who's a pretty outstanding individual?
Well, absolutely.
Now you can't poo-poo him.
No, I was actually the board president at the time that we hired Brad. Scott and I went through the hiring process of 2 superintendents while on the board, so we had that lucky pleasure. That's an exciting process, and we were lucky to work with 2 incredible leaders that were completely different. And so that was one of, I think, our successes, was to be able to navigate through the challenge of working with 2 different leaders. But Brad brings a really high level of energy. I tell people all the time, he kind of lives in shouty caps. It's like everything is turned up and dialed up and exciting. And one of the things I think that is worthy of mentioning, and I mentioned this in our meeting the other night, there is a celebration happening in Marion Community Schools right now. We're celebrating again. There was a time when we weren't, and we're celebrating again. And I think a lot of that celebration is sort of inspired by the energy of the leader at the top, and Brad brings that celebration.
We really got fortunate, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because we had a much different set of circumstances in the school system when we hired Steve Edwards. And Steve was the right fit at the right time. And when Steve moved on and retired, we were extremely fortunate to get Dr. Lindsay on board. As Katie said, he is the consummate cheerleader. You can watch him at a basketball game being a cheerleader, at a football game being a cheerleader, at a board meeting being a cheerleader, with students, and that's what I love about him most, is he is so relationship oriented with folks, and the students relate to him, teachers relate to him. In a leadership role, you're not always going to make popular decisions, and some of those are tough decisions that you have to make. But he does it with a lot of grace and a lot of elegance and a lot of enthusiasm. And that goes just a long way to building confidence and helping the community, I think, all the way through the process.
It really does. There was a time when there wasn't a whole lot to celebrate. The school was in a place of academic probation. and it was really on the verge of a state takeover. But that's not the case today. Today, well, let's just say it's thriving. Enrollment is up. You know, you've got schools that have A ratings. It's just, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, when we joined the board, I believe the graduation rate was somewhere around 52%. You know, we're dangling in that 98, 99% right now, graduation rate. And ultimately, I think that's one of the most important things we do. Scott and I share in that we haven't missed a graduation ceremony since joining the board together. He and I side by side have sat there for those, and that's what we're in the business to do, is graduate kids, you know? I mean, to get them through a quality program. And it wasn't that in 2009. And there was a different culture within those buildings. There was a culture among our teachers. There was a culture among administrators. There was a culture within that board prior to our stepping onto the board. And that is different now. And our kids, they come to school every day wanting to learn.
Want to be there.
And our teachers come to work every day excited to teach. And our administrators come and they work so hard. Administrators work so hard, but ready to lead. And that is something that I think we can all be really proud of. That's something worth celebrating. You know,
I also want to kind of mention, you gave me a great segue into this next question. I wanted to talk about the teachers union. For, you know, a number of years, there maybe wasn't such a great relationship there, but that's not the case now. It's actually a complete reversal. Would you like to share with us a little bit about that?
Bottom line is, you know, we're not going to be successful without successful teachers. And they are, you know, day in and day out, they are, in my opinion, the most important part of the school organization, of Marion Community Schools, hands down. They are the ones who have to deliver. And so I believe you've got to have a partnership. You've got to have a relationship. You have to have a partnership. You have to work on training. But most of all, you've got to be supportive. And, you know, our teachers, it's unbelievable how hard they work, really.
It's true.
You know, it's not a 9-month-a-year program. No. It's a 12-month, 7x24 in their minds. They work incredibly hard. They do an outstanding job. You know, the world is changing so quickly.
So true.
You know, that it is, you know, it's different being a teacher today than it was 5 years ago. It's tougher.
So for the sake of time, what we're going to do is we're going to pause for a really quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about some of those highlights. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more Giant Showcase in just a moment.
In many ways, my job at Boeing feels like a continuation of my role in the Air Force Reserve, refueling aircraft at 20,000 feet. They say the dream job is something you do for free. I have that dream job.
Start your adventure with the Air Force Reserve.
Welcome back to the Giant Showcase. Thanks so much for sticking with us through the break. I am talking with two outstanding and outgoing Marion Community School Board members, Scott Murphy and Katie Morgan, and we are just about to talk about some of the great highlights that were accomplished during their almost decade-long tenure as board members. You know, one of the things I think is so exciting is the installation of the turf field. The Marion Community School is one of the very first, it is the very first school in the county to have the turf field. What was it like to be able to vote that in and make that possible?
You know, it was a lot of fun to be able to do that because it provided a multi-purpose field for the band, for the football team, for the soccer team, but it really allowed us to bring a lot of sports back to campus, which was really important for us, and utilize our facilities much better than what we did before. So it was, you know, it was a big expenditure, but it was well worth the money that we spent.
Yeah, and it'll last for a long time. You know, another thing, Katie, I want to direct this to you, and that has to do with CSA. Now, CSA, it's now an accredited art school, and that is something that is done through Marion Community Schools. Can you share with us a little bit about that partnership?
Yeah, so we created a partnership where students that are interested in expanding their arts education and and still continuing in maybe a non-traditional classroom setting to allow for that expanded time studying the arts are able to enroll as Marion Community School students. They are able to take their courses either partly online and partly in the high school. For some of them, it may be mostly an online curriculum. For some, there may be quite a few of our amazing college credit or AP courses that they are taking at Marion High School. And then they are able to take an expanded training at the Community School of the Arts. For some of these kids, it's allowed them to participate in conservatory programs even outside of our community during the day. They have a non-traditional time to do their classwork. They're, maybe they're taking all of their algebra class on a Sunday because they're doing it from the comforts of their home outside of their regular training. It's provided for us the opportunity to bring students from all over Indiana and outside of Indiana into this community.
And it also helps to grow the arts within the school system.
Absolutely.
So many school systems across the country were struggling to do for quite some time. And so now I know that we are on limited time here, so we're going to kind of rapid fire because you guys have a lot of good stuff to talk about here. So I'm just going to let you take, whoever wants to take the next topic, just grab whatever you want to grab first when I throw it out there, okay? So JROTC, that was something that was brought into Marion Community Schools and very successful, I might add, during your tenure. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, really, Dr. Harry Hall had been in the Army, and he really drove the process of getting us involved in that. And, to be perfectly honest, I thought, wow, I wonder how popular that will be. Beyond my wildest dreams, it's popular, and it's given kids who might not have been involved in different activities an outlet, and the team has been successful beyond our wildest dreams as well. Unbelievable.
Yeah. A lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, and good leadership skills.
Yeah.
Okay, so a state championship, 2016 state champs. And in fact, I think we even have a picture of that plaque there. That's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in the 1998 class at Marion High School. We were runner-ups. So it was exciting to be part of the board and have a state championship. And both that and our football program, really the role of the board is just sort of to approve those hires, support our administration. And what I would say that our administration has done is bring to us some great leaders for those programs. The upgrade of all of our athletic facilities has energized kids to be part of them. It was just our responsibility to support that. And it's so exciting to see that be successful.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the rebranding of all of the schools into one big giant family. What was the idea behind that? What motivated that?
I think that is really kind of motivated. It was a Mark Fauser idea, I believe. And it kind of ties kids together from kindergarten, really from Little Giants, all the way up through high school, kind of, as opposed to being a Colt or a Patriot or something else. I mean, it's a great idea, a great program, and we're happy to support it.
And you mentioned Little Giants. Katie, you have experience with Little Giants.
I
about
do.
1 minute. Tell me
I was a Little Giant parent. It's an incredible program. We are so lucky to be able to offer that to the kids in our community, really setting them up for success, preparing our kids to be ready for kindergarten in a way that without that opportunity, my daughter wouldn't have been and is really thriving. It's amazing to see the group of kids that she's with right now that were in Little Giants and how well they're achieving, how well they're doing, how well they're hitting the mark in kindergarten. So we're really super excited to be able to have that program in Marion.
Exciting. Well, we're out of time, folks, and I wish I could spend an hour with them. So many great giant success stories that we could be sharing with you, but we are out of time. So thanks so much for watching the Giant Showcase, and we hope that you will stay tuned for some more quality family programming that you can trust right here on WSOT TV.